Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Valley Metro Travel Training Webinar brought to you by Barbara Kreitinger. My name is John McDermott and I work for the Institute for Human Development in Flagstaff, Arizona. Before passing this off to Barbara, I want to introduce you to the Adobe Connect platform. This is a listen-only webinar. If you have any questions or comments, please utilize the chat pod to the lower right of the screen. Towards the top of the screen, you'll see an icon with 4 arrows. This will allow for a full screen mode on your device or computer. So you can full screen the presentation or you can full screen the closed captioning file. Also on the screen, you'll see IHD's webinar companion. And in the lower right, you'll see a file pod, and from there, you can download the materials associated with the presentation, but also you can download this IHD webinar companion or our ASLAT brochure. So please take advantage of downloading those files if you feel necessary. And if you're interested in any other content for the webinar, you can email questions to ihd@nau.edu. And finally, we'll be recording the webinar today and to archive on our YouTube channel. On the IHD webinar companion, you'll see a YouTube link in the upper right. When you download it, it is a live link. Most things are live on that PDF. So you can go there and find our YouTube channel where this will be archived. So without further ado, I will pass this off to Barbara. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. I'm just waiting for the PowerPoint. Oh, good. I'm going to see it in a second. My name is Brenda Kreitinger, and I am from Valley Metro. Just an idea of who Valley Metro is. We work with all the participating cities in the Phoenix metro area to help public transportation work. The cities themselves are in charge of planning buses and light rail. Valley Metro is sort of a organization that sees to the running of buses and light rail. So if Phoenix wants a bus on going down Thomas, then that's what we plan, that sort of thing. So my program is called Travel Training, and it is one of 2 transit education programs at Valley Metro. I work specifically training folks with disabilities how to use fixed route transit. There is another program called Transit Education at Valley Metro, and they can be found at our website. The ladies that work for Transit Education train everyone and anyone who's interested in learning how to use fixed route transit. So they do more of a whole group PowerPoint kind of presentation. I work basically one-on-one with people. Okay, so thank you, and I'll go ahead and flip to my slides. Like I said, we are Travel Training is a program that teaches people with disabilities how to use buses and light rail and how to ride them safely. We are not the only travel training program in the country, and I don't know if you have heard of any others. Most major metropolitan areas do have a travel training program. So our goal is to help people with disabilities learn how to use buses and light rail that we provide here in the metro area. Travel training itself is a free program, and most people like that. The program is funded through federal grant funding, so there is no charge to the individuals that I work with. We're able to provide the training for free, and during the training we're able to provide the bus and light rail fare also. We try to make this a one-on-one instruction. I do occasionally work with small groups, particularly if I'm working with a group of high school students, but we do like the instruction to be one-on-one. And the goal of travel training is to increase a person's independence. We find that a lot of people who are interested in the program no longer drive, they have a hard time getting around on their own. Many people are reliant on dial-a-ride, and so learning how to take a bus and the light rail to destinations can really increase their ability to go places. The other thing that's nice about fixed route transit is you can go on your own schedule. You do have to maintain bus schedules, of course, but if you need to be somewhere at 5 o'clock this afternoon, you can hop on a bus and get there. So again, this is just another little quick overview of what travel training is, and the reasons that Valley Metro and the cities that we represent feel that it's important. Um, Part of what we do as the travel training program to meet people to find out if they're interested or if this is a good fit, a good program for them, is we meet and we assess people's needs. And we do, again, our instruction within the community. So it's a real world kind of classroom. And what we want to do is we want to teach people the skills they need to follow a bus route and light rail. This can be to go anywhere. A lot of people use this program to go to work or to go to school. It can save a lot of money if you can take buses to school as opposed to having to use dial-a-ride or ask for a friend to drive you to college, that sort of thing. But people also use this program to learn how to go to the grocery store or to doctor's appointments, even the theater, any routine community activity that would enhance someone's life. My point, that what I do, because I am the travel trainer, is I try to teach people the skills they need so that they'll be safe and comfortable while they're riding the bus and the light rail. First of all, you have to have a plan, and it's very important to know where you're going and how you're going to get there using fixed route. It's also good, we do a lot of practice about safety, crossing streets. I don't know if anyone's ever crossed a street in Phoenix, but people driving aren't looking for pedestrians. So, they're just some basic things you don't even think about until you're out there. But, we work on all kinds of things related to safety. We also have to work on, sometimes, managing just basic life skills, paying for fare, being sure you have enough change, little things like that. And then travel disruptions, they happen. They happen whether you're driving in a car and you have a flat tire, or you're waiting for a bus and it doesn't show up. Little things like that. You have to know how to handle it. And so that's part of what we do in our training also. Usually we start with a referral. Now, referrals come to me from many different places. I do I do some presentations, I do some marketing, and just send out flyers and introductory letters, that type of thing. So I get referrals from all over, from different agencies. And once a referral is made, then I meet with the person. So if an agency has referred a particular client, I would then get in touch with that client and make an appointment to meet with them. The first time I meet with a person, we do not go out on a bus. We meet and have an assessment. Part of why I need to do the assessment is I am a grant-funded program, and part of my grant is working with people with disabilities. So we meet and we discuss that person's particular needs. It's good for me to know, not only for grant funding, but for just so I can plan an appropriate route, and that we can be sure we're working on the appropriate safety measures. So the assessment is very, very helpful to me. It gives me a really good idea of who I'm working with and what their goals are, We also spend time discussing where they'd like to go. If if I'm working with someone who has a caregiver, who has a personal care assistant, um, or even maybe just a family member, a lot of times they're with us during the assessment, and sometimes they're with us during travel. It does just depend on that individual person's needs. And again, the information that I'm gathering is really to keep whoever I'm working with safe. So while we're in the assessment, while we're meeting, we usually outline a trip. We'll talk about where they'd like to go. And there are several different ways to plan a trip. I usually bring the transit book with me. That's one way to do it. There are lots of nice ways now with your cell phone that you can plan a trip. And so we discuss all that and look at them all. Sometimes we use the website. It does depend a little bit on the individual, but we work on trip planning. Fare is important. Now, I can provide fare while we're training, but it is good for someone to know where you can find fare. How much does it cost? What type of fare ticket should I buy? That sort of thing. So we talk about a lot of those things. And of course, very important when you're traveling on fixed route is learning how to locate stops and landmarks. So what we do is we plan a trip, and I write out a very extensive trip plan for everyone. And in that trip plan, we're going to write down bus stop numbers, we're going to write down cross streets, intersections, and landmarks. What landmark is near the stop, or what landmarks are we going to see as we're approaching this stop. And of course, we practice getting on and off the bus safely. Um, it sounds simple, but all these things do need to be practiced once or twice. If you are putting the fare in the fare box and you're not sure how to do it, folks can get really self-conscious. And we don't want that. We want you to be comfortable, feel like you know what you're doing, and it all leads to good, safe travel. And of course, safety. We do spend a lot of time talking about safety while you're on the bus and while you're walking around in the community. So part of what I do is I also teach people. I don't just teach them how to get on and off the bus, but we also walk to their destination. We want to be sure that the travel from the bus stop to the building that we're going to is safe. That there are curb cuts, that there are sidewalks, that we have street lights to cross at, things like that. So after we plan the trip, I meet with folks usually the second time, and that is our trip. So oftentimes I take one trip with someone, but I can also take more than one trip. It just depends on a person's experience and how comfortable they are with what we've planned. So during the first trip, I give a lot of guidance. Well, it does depend on the person I'm working with, of course. Some people require more guidance than others. But if this is brand new and you've never been on a bus before in your life, then we work together on that first trip. And I will give clues as to, oh my goodness, it looks like we're getting close. What are we listening for on the bus? We're listening for approaching 95th Avenue, that kind of thing. So we just do it all together. And after the first trip, I will give less and less guidance as we go. So we may take several trips until the individual I'm working with feels comfortable. And again, with each trip, there's less and less direction. The very last trip I take, we often call a shadow trip. And this is particularly for a customer who has had no bus experience whatsoever. or may have a disability where anxiety is a problem. And so we may practice the trip. We could practice it, like I said, once, or we might practice the trip 20 times. But at the end, if we're all still wanting to be sure everything's going to go just as smoothly as possible, I will do a shadow trip where I sort of follow the individual. They know I'm doing it, not trying to be too terribly creepy, but what we do is the individual meets me at the usual bus stop, and I'm already there. They get on the bus, they take care of everything themselves. I'm just in the background. I'm at the far end of the bus. If they look to me for help, I really don't give it to them. This is the trip where they've got to make their own decisions and really do this as independently as possible. What happens many times is that we plan a trip and we take it, and the individual learns that trip. But after they've learned one trip, they realize that, this is a pretty good way for me to travel. So we end up doing multiple destinations. And we handle this very similarly to the first trip. We get together and we plan. We do the one on one trip together. Generally, once we've hit multiple destinations, we spend less time on the individual trips. So we may take it once or twice, and then everybody feels comfortable with this new destination. And oftentimes we then move on to another destination. So really, we can just keep going as long as a person needs new destinations. What we usually try to do is make our destinations, make the trips that we plan and use with people, to be someplace they go to quite regularly. A lot of times folks have doctor's appointments, and what we'd like to do is to get together, plan that trip, and then practice the trip before the appointment. I have a young man right now who's going to start community college. So he's starting in August, and it's March, and we're already practicing taking that trip from his home to the community college. Um, the nice thing about doing all this a little bit ahead of time is that when you practice a route and you feel like you know it, on the day you have the doctor's appointment and you have to be there at 11:30, you know that you can be, and it really does relieve a lot of stress for people. Generally, I'm sorry, there's a question. Let me see if I can answer that. Oh, that's a very good question. Mark Bird asked, of course, is this just for Phoenix or do the participating cities? Now, in the Phoenix metro area, so yes, Mesa, Tempe, any city that has fixed route transit in the Phoenix metro area, yes, I cover. So I do actually travel quite a lot. Sometimes I'm in Peoria in the morning and I'm in Gilbert in the afternoon. So yes, we try to cover anywhere that Metro Transit covers. Now, it's as far as I know, this program is not available in Tucson. I am the only travel trainer, I believe, in the state. So no, we don't have this program available in Tucson. Thank you. Those were good questions. So and just to get back real quick to the PowerPoint, um, generally I don't take someone. I'm not like a fixed route dial ride. I can't take someone to their doctor's appointment, wait for 3 hours, and then take them home type of thing. Um, Mostly because we are encouraging people to become independent using fixed route transit, and we want them to obviously be able to take these trips on their own when they need. So, we don't want anybody relying on me to get them to their doctor's appointment every month, that type of thing. Um, so, our whole point in travel training is to help people feel more comfortable so that they will use the bus and the light rail. There are several different reasons why Valley Metro is interested in this. A lot of my referrals do come from people who use Dial-A-Ride. And although Dial-A-Ride is a marvelous program, if you have the ability to use bus and light rail, it's often more convenient and it is cheaper for the individual to use the bus as opposed to using Dial-A-Ride to get where you need to go. So, the idea behind it for Valley Metro is to be sure folks know they have options and that they can use the option that suits them best at that time and fits their needs better. And basically we just want people to be able to get where they want to go. I work with the most marvelous people, and a lot of the folks I work with, due to their disability, maybe their age, they just haven't been able to get out and about on their own for a very long time. I work with young people who are reliant on their parents to get them places, and friends and family. So a lot of people just, when they realize how easy it is, especially after we work together, to get on the bus and go even just to the grocery store, it just can be it's just a wonderful thing for an awful lot of people. So that's kind of our point. We just want to give everyone new options. There is something new that Valley Metro is instituting, and this is kind of for a couple of reasons. While we're training the person I'm working with, I can pay for their fare, and that is part of the training. It is good for people to know how to use that fare ticket. But at the end of our training, Valley Metro is offering a free Platinum bus pass for a year. And the purpose of this pass is, number one, so that the trainee will be able to use the training that they've been given very easily, without having to pay for fare. And the other reason is Valley Metro would really like to know if a person does use this training. So the Platinum Pass is something that Valley Metro can track, and not where people go, but the number of times they actually get on the bus or the train. So it's good for everybody, and it is something new. We've just started this year. Before anybody gets too excited, it is a great deal. It's free bus fare for 1 year. It is non-renewable, so when the year is over, the bus pass goes away. But again, it is a very nice little option to use the training and to really be able to use the training afterward. So this is really a pretty quick little presentation. Does anyone have any questions that I could answer? Patricia, your question about the AHO Connect, I could, yes. I have not had anyone who is interested in that particular route yet, but yes, it is a possibility, and I would be more than willing to meet whomever. Yes. You're welcome. It looks to me like many of you are typing, so I'm just going to wait until I can see what you've typed. Jennifer asked about Anthem. There isn't really bus service in Anthem. There is some in North Scottsdale. And so, yeah, Anthem's a pretty tough place for me to go to. The people that I work with, because we want everyone to be independent, be able to get themselves where they're going, the people that I work with have to be near enough a bus stop that they can actually get to it on their own. I do have people who might live 5 or 6 miles away from a bus stop. Now they can work transportation to the bus stop, and then so it is sometimes easier for a parent to drive a person into Scottsdale, where there is a bus stop, as opposed to driving them all the way into Phoenix. So yes, maybe with the anthem question, it just sort of depends on the individual person. Um, Cindy, your question about the end of the routes in West Phoenix. Phoenix itself has great fixed route transit. It's marvelous. It goes all over the city. And then as you start to go west, Glendale has very good fixed route transit. Peoria has very little, and Avondale has a little bit. They have a couple of large fixed route buses, and they also have a community bus called the Zoom. So it really does just depend. There's it depends on the city that you're living in. Yeah. Some of the routes go all the way out to 99th to 107th Avenue, but that's kind of sketchy. That's not every route. Oh, no, Melody, I didn't mention the number of people that we have serviced. Um, since I am the one and only travel trainer at the moment, I'm pretty busy. I work, at least 1 to 2 trips with individuals every day. Um, we've worked with over 200 people so far over the past few years. Currently, I have about 10 people that I'm working with right now who are still completing their training. And throughout this year, we have worked with at least 42 people so far. Our year begins in July and ends in July. Hi. Yes, Dana. Yeah, Avondale, you're right. And there is a bus that stops right there in front on in front of the DES building. Yes. And you're right, the Zoom doesn't go all throughout Avondale. Um, it goes in certain areas. Yeah, that's kind of part of the thing about the community circulators. They hit neighborhood areas that the major city buses don't hit. Oh, that's a good question, Dana, about people with visual impairments. We do provide travel training services for all people with disabilities, and that does include visual impairments, yes. Now, I am not an O&M mobility instructor, so I can't teach someone with low or no vision how to use their white cane or how to cross the street. But folks who have had prior training in O&M, then yes, I am more than happy to work with people with visual impairments. Cindy, you asked a question about the bus passes. You cannot use a bus pass on the Zoom. That's true. Um, Neighborhood circulators that charge, and in the Phoenix metro area, the Avondale Zoom charges and the Glendale Gus buses charge money, and you actually have to have cash to pay for those. Mark, you asked if there's a time limit on the training. It is truly dependent on the individual. I have worked with some people we've met, we planned, we went out the next time, a week later, and they were done. So it was really just a matter of 2 sessions. I work with people who it's taken 6 months for us, to get to the point where we feel that they're safe and that they want to use, this by themselves. So it really is dependent upon the individual. Geraldine, you asked about the Platinum Pass because I did talk about how we would give my program, Travel Training, will give a Platinum Pass to individuals who complete travel training. Okay. Platinum Passes are not available to the general public. If you go to the website, they'll try to explain what a Platinum Pass is, but generally, um, corporations, businesses often provide Platinum Passes to their employees. ASU provides a sort of a Platinum Pass to students. The students pay for it. And like my husband worked for the state of Arizona and he had a Platinum Pass, so he used the bus to leave Mesa and get into downtown Phoenix. Now, every time we used that bus pass, though, it did come out of his salary. So Platinum Passes are different and they're set up differently through different agencies. The Platinum Pass that Travel Training is giving out, the funding is coming from another source, so the individual who's using my Platinum Pass is not paying anything for that year that they have it. And Cindy, yes, just my brochure, if you downloaded that, has the contact information for getting in touch with me. And that would be wonderful. We'd love to hear from you. There are two names I know if you notice on the PowerPoint, and Dana Simmons and myself. Actually, their email addresses. Um, Dana Simmons is the person that you usually want to call. You can always call me, but I'm often on a bus. So if you call my phone number, I either won't be at my desk to answer, or if you call my cell, then I won't be able to help you because I don't have a computer in front of me. But Dana is always in the office and she is always available. And usually folks go through Miss Dana. She handles the schedules. She has got everything she needs right in front of her. So she could set you up very nicely. And she is the 602 716 2108 phone number. And like I said, her email is also there. And thank you, Geraldine. Margaret, that's a really good question. The criteria for travel training for folks with intellectual disabilities. That's partly why we do the travel training assessment before we even go out on a bus. Again, this is all developed for the individual in mind. So, if the individual with intellectual disabilities has some stranger awareness, that's the big one right there. We want to be sure that whoever I'm working with will be safe when they're out in the community around strangers. I can teach a lot of things. I can teach a person how to count change, how to put the fare in the fare box, even finding the right landmarks. But we do want to be sure that the skills are there and for community safety and stranger awareness, that type of thing. So yes, there's not a real criteria for intellectual disabilities, and that's why we meet and discuss it with the individual and with their caregivers. I hope that answers your question. And I noticed that my email, Dana, and my email are there, and it's always a good way to get a hold of us if it's easy for you. Email works really well for us. Oh, Margaret, it's not the assessment that I use. Yeah, that's a really good question. Um, It is not a standardized assessment. It is something that's been developed. I developed it through travel training assessments that have been used in Portland and in Las Vegas by other travel trainers, and it's a very it's simply an assessment that goes through different questions about medical conditions, stranger awareness, safety. We talk about whether a person has ever gotten lost, what did they do. Yeah, I ask questions about whether you can go up and down stairs, can you walk a half a mile. Sometimes we actually go out during the assessment and we walk around the neighborhood just to get a really good feel for the person's comfort level while they're outside, while they're out in the community. Thank you. Thanks. I do work with a lot of high school students, Margaret, and I do love it because high school seniors who are transitioning out of out of school, they have IEPs, and I can help meet one of those transition goals by the community-based one. And I will work directly with teachers and students. I work with their parents. Um, I can provide feedback. Yeah, and a lot of times we actually work on places that we know they're going to go when they graduate from school. So, if kids are going to a community college, if they're going to start vocational training at Goodwill, places like that, we try to do the training so it's pertinent to what their needs will be when they graduate. Thank you. Amy, that's a very good question. I may not have a really good answer for how long the program will offer the Platinum Pass. It's something we started in October. Um, the Platinum Passes I've been giving out are, of course, good for 1 year. So long as they serve a purpose, so long as people are using them, I imagine that Valley Metro will want to continue to give the Platinum Passes to graduates of travel training. Um, but I can't guarantee for how long they will want to continue that part of the program. Geraldine, that's a good question. There are some travel training programs in, like Portland for one, who does utilize volunteers. And they use them mostly for seniors, and they go in, the travel trainer goes in and trains 2 or 3 volunteers from the senior center, who then they train the seniors who go to that senior center. We don't have anything like that set up just yet. Basically, it's me. And the nice thing about this is the program's been going for about 4 years. The first 2 years, no one even knew I existed. So we've started slowly, and we've developed and been able to, put together a really nice program. At this point, yes, I could see having some volunteers that would help. That would probably be nice. But we don't have anything like that set up yet. That's a good question, Mark. People ask me that all the time. Um, I can usually see someone within a week to 10 days. So there isn't really a long wait list. Where the wait might come in is getting out and meeting someone for the assessment is pretty quick. But if someone needs me to teach them how to get home from school and it looks like we're going to need 10 days straight of that particular trip. That sometimes it's just a logistics thing trying to find 10 days in a row type of thing. What happens with most people is that, they want to do 1 to 2 trips a week. So I actually can work a lot of people in, to tell you the truth, and be working with a lot of people at the same time. You're welcome. Thank you. I'll of course still be here, for a few minutes to answer any questions. I really do appreciate everyone coming and giving me this time. Thank you very much. No, really? Mark Bird, you're Beth Bird's husband. Oh no. It's you, Beth. Hi. Oh, that is so funny. Oh, Beth, I'm so glad you're here. That's so cool. You'll have to give me a call. And there was a question from Melody. What type of a degree do I have? That's a really good question. I'm a special education teacher, so I have a degree in special ed, and I have. Oh, what type of dog do I have? Oh, you heard her bark. Oh, yeah. She's a mutt. Yeah, and she's scared of the air conditioning. So when the air conditioning turned on, that's why you heard her. John, there's a way for Matt to get a copy of the closed captioning transcript. Yes.
I'm gonna have to check with Caption Colorado about that. I have never exported it out of here before, but it'll be something that I look into.
Okay. Thanks.
The
Geraldine,
PowerPoint,
I know the.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead, John.
I was just going to point out, I think the same thing you were saying. The PowerPoint is called Travel Training Slide Deck over in the Files pod. If you just click on that and click on Download Files, it'll just move right onto your desktop.
Thank you.
Matt, if you're still out there, you'll see in the captions there's a URL address, captiontext.com, and there's your event ID right there. It looks like that's what's currently happening. I think you can click on transcript on the bottom and potentially download it. Yes, there's an option after you click on transcript. You can save as text or save as HTML for that matter. I hope that works for you.
John, thank you for this. It's easy to use.
Thank you very much for presenting. I'd also like to say that Melody from ASTAP started it all and contacted you, so we're sort of hosting these webinars for ASTAP. I'll put their email, or I'm sorry, their website on the bottom there, and check out all the programs and feature that ASTAP has to offer.
Thank you. Yes, thank you both very much.
I don't know if you can access this, Matt, but I put the live hyperlink into the chat area. It should be the last one on the list. If you click on that, it should open up in your browser. And let me get that event ID for you. Two five four 7858 is the event ID. Put anything in if you need it.
Matt, sure, I would be very happy to call you and talk to you about training opportunities. That sounds good. Sounds wonderful. Matt, we'll try to give you a call tomorrow or the next day. Sounds good. I've got your number. Hi, Geraldine. Well, yes, I am connected with Valley Metro in that Valley Metro wrote the grant that made the program possible. And the Accessible Transit Department, the ADA department, is basically where I work out of.